Welcome to Dairy Delivery by the Dairy Star. On today's episode, we'll start in Faribault, Minnesota. Josh Kelm and his family narrowly avoided disaster as one of their silos collapsed on their family farm. Then we head to Eden, Wisconsin, where we talked to Kurt and Sarah Loehrs. Over 2 years ago, a fire destroyed nearly everything on their farm. This September, they hosted an open house as cows returned to the farm, Forest Ridge Holsteins. Next, we head to Winona, Minnesota, where we visit with the Hughes family, who switched to robotic milking some 3 years ago. And we finish up today's episode with Brad and Marie Fobert. The two got married 35 years ago and used a trip to the World Dairy Expo as their honeymoon. Now, 35 years later, the couple visits Madison every fall, creating a new family tradition. You're listening to Dairy Delivery. All dairy, all the time. We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Loehrs Center in Monroe, Wisconsin. Loehrs of Monroe provides the necessary support to help unlock your dairy farm's full potential. Since Loehrs' founding in 1948, they've had one goal: making farmers' lives easier through innovation. They offer a variety of dairy solutions for milking, feeding, manure, and farm management. Loehrs also offers consumables that fit your needs, offering more than just innovative machines, but complete solutions. At Loehrs, they work alongside you, keeping your cows and machines in top condition, and ensuring your tanks are full of the very best milk. Milk care, cow care, machine care. Loehrs does it all. Visit the Loehrs website at lelyna.com to see all the services and product Loehrs provides and find what fits your needs. Healthier cows, healthier farmers, better decisions. The Loehrs Center in Monroe, Wisconsin has the whole picture. I'm Dan Walker.
And I'm Michelle Spangler, and we're reporters with Dairy Star, bringing you the latest in the dairy industry, including hearing from farmers across the Midwest and beyond. Dan, there is harvesting going on, corn silage. You get some childhood memories from that.
Yes, I do. Yeah, corn silage, obviously a big thing going on this time of year. Everybody trying to get their feed in for the next year to make sure the cows are well fed and everything. But well, obviously, then what comes with that is covering silage piles and throwing tires and everything. And a story I had from that was I used to do track and field in middle school, and well, I'm not the fastest guy around, so I was concentrating my efforts on the throwing shot and disc. And what I would try to do is we would have the tire cutouts and actually just the full tires, and I would use those as a kind of a discus to try to get my my steps right and launch them as far as I could. And it was never as far as I thought it was going to go, but it would at least created a little bit of fun out of covering the pile and throwing tires and having fun with my dad and brothers and taking care of what needed to be done on the farm.
It got you a good workout, I bet.
Yeah, it did. Or I was, like I said, middle school, so probably I just got too tired and gave up and then walked them up the hill, walked them up the pile instead. But still.
Oh, too fun. I know last week was Farm Safety Week, so really encourage everyone to really be cognizant of what's in front of them. It's easy to be in a rush, so stay safe out there. It's definitely another family member on the road, so great to know that there are those resources available. A few organizations are celebrating, so encourage you all listeners to look up ways where you can be extra safe this harvest season. But I can't believe it's World Dairy Expo this week.
Right? Yeah, it started up already, didn't it?
Yeah, there's a few activities happening already, from showmanship to some judging for some younger adult individuals. And tomorrow officially kicks off the trade show. And we have something special for our listeners, don't we, Dan?
We do. We got a special 3-part series coming up with Dairy Delivery World Dairy Expo special editions. So we'll have a 3-part series, like I said. Michelle and I are going to kind of divide up 2 of the episodes. I'm going to host one that's going to be released tomorrow. Michelle, yours is coming out on Friday.
Yeah, and then we have another on that following Monday. So some extra bonus coverage that we'll hear right there on the grounds. There are so many other sessions also happening. And also, you can find a lot of stories by some of our reporters found in the Expo Daily Edition. If you're not there on the grounds, you can check it out on dairystar.com under the special sections tab, or check out worlddairyexpo.com. You can find out so many of those stories from farmers and so many people that make our industry so alive.
Definitely. Say at the trade show, Dairy Star will have a booth set up. I know I'll be down there today and tomorrow. You're going to be down there later in the week, so if you guys are listening to this and you hear us, stop on by. Let's get to know each other, talk a little bit, and that's one of the best things about Expo is getting to meet of our readers and talk to people who we've worked with in the past, and kind of continue to build those relationships with each other.
Yeah, because ultimately what we're trying to do is tell stories and have those conversations and to relate to others, hopefully inspire or to educate some other people that are right in your shoes as well. So, yeah, connect with us.
All right, Michelle, should we get into today's episode?
Let's get to it. We start today's episode with Josh Kelm in Faribault with our reporter there, Amy Kylo. Josh and his family were in the silo room finishing up a few loads recently here at the end of their harvest. That's when they heard two loud pops. And Josh knew everyone had to get out. Josh, Ava, Peyton, Colton, and Josh's mom, Colleen, sprinted away to safety. Let's hear that memory right now.
So we had ran to the south, to the direction that the silo had fallen, and it was one of those things where I had two kids in front of me, and I have three kids total, and I'd lost one kid. I turned around to go back to try and find her, and the silo landed right in front of me. So probably about 20 feet in front of my face, and I instantly panicked because I did not know where my third child was, and that was a scary feeling for me.
Oh my goodness. Where was she? Was she okay?
Yep, she was. So my mom was also in the vicinity, and she was running with her, and apparently she had tripped, and her mom was trying to get her, and they went a little bit of a different direction than the three of us went, and she was in the corner crying when I found her, and there was a pretty good sized block laying about 2 feet from her feet, and she got a little ding on her arm from some sort of debris that came flying, and it was really close.
Oh my goodness. So you literally heard two pops and ran, and you turned around and it fell in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I realized I didn't have all three children, and I was going back to find the other one, and yeah, it was right there. I wish I could say I seen it, but I didn't see anything. It was just solid dust.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I opened my eyes, so it took a minute to figure out what had just happened and where I was going to try and find her, but thankfully she was crying, so I was able to find her fast and find out that everybody was okay.
Sure. So you could hear her crying. Oh my goodness. So, tell me what, obviously, like, for me, if I heard a pop on a farm, I wouldn't necessarily immediately think the silo is falling, right? So what part of you triggered you to realize that this was something was happening bad?
Yeah, so I read a Facebook post, I think it was probably last year, that a guy had said he was up in a silo and he had heard the pops and he had crawled out of the silo and they'd have it collapse. That's the only thing I remember, but why it actually came true in front of me, why my brain thought that was what was going to happen. I don't know, but for some reason it triggered something that I knew that there was danger. I know it was one of those things where I told the kids that I must have said in a pretty firm voice that they understood that they needed to go, because my kids usually don't listen that well to me. So the fact that they took me as serious as they did is amazing. I must have really scared them when I said we need to run.
Wow. So then tell me, like, obviously you said you found your daughter, a couple moments later, she was okay, your mother-in-law was okay, you all okay. Tell me, like, once you realized that, everybody was safe, what were your emotions kind of?
Well, then I didn't know what direction the solid actually was. So Emma didn't know where Dad was. Dad we couldn't get a hold of Dad when I'd heard the pop, and I had thought it went over the barn's direction I thought it was going to go. So I was, I went into trying to figure out where he was, which direction the silo went, and then it was find the cattle. If all the cattle were fine and all of that. Then it was just sheer shaking. I was shaking for days. It took a lot to. I'm still shaking from it. Even though I talk about it, it's just how close we were to it. It's just baffling.
How big of a silo are we talking about?
So this was a 18 by 80 silo.
Like a cement with like wings?
Yep, so it was an old Edison silo is what it was. So it's got the hollow block,
Okay.
which may have been part of the reason why. I'm assuming that played a little bit into it.
So
why it came down.
That you think the cement blocks were deteriorating?
They definitely were not in prime condition, no.
So, I mean,
there's actually two silos that came down. So the one silo spun and kicked the other silo, and in the way that silo must have spun, it actually changed the direction the silo fell down. So it's just crazy when you see it, how it came down and why it came down, and all I can explain is that God literally had the sand on it. He grabbed that silo and he positioned it in the direction that saved everything. Saved the cattle, saved us.
The milk and feed expert in your area is Loehrs Center in Monroe, Wisconsin. Loehrs offers you a new routine. Automation provides greater flexibility, more efficiency, and a better work-life balance. When you spend a third of your life working on repetitive tasks, you can imagine the possibilities it brings when you automate those tasks. Physical relief, time savings, and greater flexibility gives you more time to focus on the more important things, like herd health, improved management, and of course, family life. Healthier cows, healthier farmers, better decisions. Monroe Loehrs has the whole picture. Read about the Kelm's heartwarming story on dairystar.com under the headline, Almost Crushed. Our next story today marks a return to milking for Kurt and Sarah Loehrs, as reported on by one of our Wisconsin reporters, Stacy Smart. After a fire destroyed all the barns on their farm except for the calf barn, the family hosted an open house at their farm, Forest Ridge Holsteins, after they started milking again in late August with a rebuilt barn and a pair of robotic milking units.
It's pretty exciting on one hand, nerve-wracking on the other, because even though you're in a brand new facility, so you're learning how to run a lot of brand new equipment like robots, which can be tricky. But so far, things have been good. Like I said, it's so exciting, and it just makes us so happy to have all the cows at home again, that I think at this point we are just trying to figure out what our new normal is and get into a good day-to-day routine and get the cows settled into their new facilities.
Was there ever any question if you guys were going to rebuild?
I don't think so. I think if we would have lost all the cows that day, it would have been a different story, different ending of the story. But we just kind of looked at the situation and seeing that, everything happens for a reason, and we just think that the good Lord kind of spared us our cattle, and that was kind of our passion, and not having to have to start over with that passion and our basis for all the breeding genetics we've accomplished in the last 15 years or so. If we would have lost that, like I said, it would have been a lot harder to start all over than what it was. So we just kind of always thought that, since we didn't lose any of the cattle, there was a reason why it happened that way, and I'm glad it did happen that way. It gave us the ability to put a facility on the old footprint we had that we would have been able to put here. So it just kind of trying to find the positives in any of the situation, so yep.
And your community really came together to support you guys during this time, and can you talk a little bit about that and the help you received from neighbors and family and friends?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. From family to friends to neighbors, people you haven't talked to in a while, came out and lent a helping hand whenever they could. The families that took our cattle, it's pretty awesome.
And you guys had an open house on September 13th to kind of invite everyone in and thank them and celebrate. How was the turnout for that?
Much higher than we planned for. We the joke is that we told the athletic club that grilled all the food that we were planning between 70 and 400 people. Like that was kind of our guesstimate. And we guessed that about 1,000 people came out, which was totally overwhelming, but we think the weather just happened to be the perfect weather and people really wanted to see what the new facility was going to look like. And so it was pretty cool. Like Kurt and I both, I think we stood in the middle of the barn, in the barn aisle, and people just came to us for hours, and we didn't move from our spot. And it was nice because it was like a wedding where you definitely did not get to talk to all the people you wanted to, but you were just really grateful for all the people that came out to check things out and just visit, because we know that like the community has been so supportive that we at least wanted them to be able to have a chance to see what the new buildings were going to look like, because a lot of them have been driving by for 2 years waiting for something to happen. So this was their chance to check things out, what we built.
That sounds like an amazing event. What a great thing to have it for your community and for you guys, for your family. And so Adela and Ainsley, what do you guys think about having the cows back home? How does that feel?
It's definitely a good feeling, because trying to go 30,000 different places to do chores, it's definitely not very fun. But yeah, it's good to have everything back home. And like, we've already had a bunch of like people from our school like ask us, so this is a really cool facility. Can we like have all the kids come from our school and like get tours and stuff? So it's really cool.
Yeah, so it's better than not having to milk 12 cows in the calf barn like you used to. And having all the calves back in the calf barn and all the cows back in our new facility like we have it now. It's actually much better than we have to do it how the old barn was, but I still like doing it in the old barn, because I would milk one specific cow when we had the old barn, and this now it's much better because you don't have to go milk the cows all the time, and then they just go in on their own.
That does sound nice. Sounds pretty convenient and more flexible and gives you guys a little break. So what are you looking forward to now that you're in your new facilities and settled in? What are you guys looking forward to next?
Peace and quiet. I think. I was just telling somebody on Saturday that at our open house that I'm trying to decide if I'm excited for our contractors to leave because we'll finally have some peace and quiet for the first time in a long time, or if we're going to go through some withdrawals because the people that you've seen every day for the last 6 months aren't going to be here anymore, and the friendships we built with those contractors and the camaraderie we built, as much bad as there's been in the whole situation, there's just been way more positives that have come out of it. But yeah, it's been pretty good.
Loehrs Center in Monroe, Wisconsin allows you and your herd a new routine. A routine that allows cows to follow their own rhythm. The cow decides when she eats, gets milked, or lies down. This results in a more tranquil environment where the cows have the freedom to express their natural behavior, and it gives you more time to spend managing cow health and fertility, and all that combines to increase cow longevity, optimize production, and reduce culling rates. The milk and feed expert in your area is Loehrs Center of Monroe, Wisconsin.
Read about Kurt and Sarah's new barns under the headline Cows Return to Forest Ridge on dairystar.com. Our next story takes us to Winona, Minnesota. Our Minnesota reporter Amy Kylo spoke with Isaiah and Brianne Tews. The couple, their 10 children, and Isaiah's brother, Joseph, started using robotic milking units 3 years ago. This past March, they added another robotic milking unit as they continue to evolve their approach to milk production.
We have 4 D-Laval and 1 AMS Galaxy in a capital L setup where we can sort into a special needs pen. We have sand bedding, feed pusher, alley scraper, natural vent with a closed ridge with fans.
So you have 2 types of robots. Tell me a little bit about, did you guys start with 2 types, or what made you guys decide to have 2 types of robots?
We started with 4 D-Lavals, and then this salesman from a different company stopped, and we listened and liked, and, we had, a few different things like our weak points, and they seemed to be strong in a few of those, so we gave it a whirl.
Yeah, I love it. So how many cows are you guys milking here?
About 250.
Okay, and did that increase with the robots then?
We've added from within with the extra robot, but basically no. Maybe just put fewer cows on each robot. But we did increase a little bit just from within.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit. You guys have been dairy farming for a few years. What's the history a little bit of you guys' farm?
Our grandpa and my dad, or our dad, built a double four herringbone parlor in I think it was 71. And then our dad doubled that to a double eight, and then built a freestyle barn in right around 2000. And then in 2015, Dad had tired shoulders and wanted to quit dairy farming. So then we bought him out and then added a few cows and then just kept looking at robots. And we were always kind of looking at robots probably since 2010 or so. And then here we sit.
I love it. So what kind of got you guys thinking hey, I think robots are the next best fit versus, an updated parlor or something like that?
Not wanting to do a lot of labor or try and get more milk with the same amount of labor or less labor.
Absolutely. What you guys talk a little bit about pounds of milk and whatever. How have you seen those pounds of milk and such change with the robotic system?
And they definitely give a substantial amount more, being able to milk more than twice. And
yeah. Have you seen components increase as well?
I think components have gone up a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is it, some advice you guys would have for maybe farmers who are considering robots?
Tour a lot. Visit a lot of barns, as many as you can. All the colors. Never say never.
Yeah.
For a long time, I felt like, it's just too much money. It's too much money. It's too much money. And then once you did it, and you spend too much money, but it's working. So.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys see for the future? Obviously, you've got this barn set up. What's kind of maybe next for the barn as far as robots and then just the farm in general?
Probably would add another robot and then kind of max out this. And then it would probably depend on if kids want to join or something. Then it would be, do we look for another site or just a new barn? But then it would probably be set up that you have milking cows and dry cows in the same barn. They don't have to leave. No leaving, because once the cows are up here, they don't like to leave the barn. They don't. It's
sure. Where do the cows and dry cows go to a different site?
Dry cows go to the original freestall barn that was built in 71. There's 70 stalls there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, they don't like to leave once they get up here.
Sure. And you said they talked a little bit about natural ventilation and whatever. How is the barn ventilated? What do you think? What's the difference in cow comfort that they don't like leaving?
I think it's light. Light, it's just comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not used to it.
Sure.
This has a closed ridge with power fans. And then, there's a lot of fans up here. We did put up quite a few more in for our dry cows, trying to make sure the transition cows are taken care of better.
Read the Chooses story about their robotic milking journey under the headline, An Evolving Robotic Journey, on dairystar.com. Our final story today takes us to a memory from World Dairy Expo in Madison, Wisconsin, as the annual event is happening all throughout this week. Michelle heard from Brad and Marie Fober from Sumner, Iowa, who have made an annual trip to World Dairy Expo since they were married 35 years ago. After getting married in the middle of September, their first trip as a married couple was to Expo, and now they continue to make the 3-hour drive to the event each year, even staying in the same hotel as they stayed in for their honeymoon.
I grew up in town, so really didn't know about cows until 1989 when I met Brad. And then I started to fall in love with them, with the taking care of them, watching them grow from a baby to when they calve and start milking. And then we get to name each cow. So if the cow's name is Maria, we named it Mary. We kept the same first letter for each one so we know the cow family. So it's just nice to know where the cow came from.
Yeah, very cool. Now, you have a special connection to World Dairy Expo. Tell me more about that.
In 1990, when we got married in September, my husband talked me into going to the World Dairy Expo on our honeymoon, and I agreed. That way we got off the farm, and it was a short little trip, and it was just him and I, And then we got to I got to fall in love with going to the expo, and we had our routine of we go and they used to have cream puffs when we first started going up there. There was a food truck that had cream puffs, and we would be watching the show. I would go get the cream puffs, and we would share the cream puff because it was huge.
Oh, wow.
And then just as the years went on, just seeing the new technology going from the smaller herds into the bigger herds. And then now that our kids go up there, just being able to connect with them up there in their world of their jobs.
Yeah, tell me about that. It's a whole family affair.
Yes. So our oldest daughter, Katie England, she went to ISU for dairy science, animal science, and she started working at the Iowa State Dairy Farm. And then in I think it was like 2018, 2019, she took a job with DRMS on Iowa State campus. And so now they have her going up there so she can talk with the farmers and connect with them and tell them about their products. And then my son, Luke Fober, he met a girl at college at ISU, and she was from the Mars, so she got him taught out to going out there so she could take a teaching job. And he got a job at Transova, where he is a dairy donor manager. He goes up there to work the booth. It was kind of neat last year that he actually got to go on the floor with the champions when they were doing the Supreme Champions and help hold the check with the donation from Transova.
Wow, when you say it's a family affair, it's truly the whole family is part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, you also like the cow show. Tell me about some memories that you have there.
So the cow show is kind of neat because Brad grew up with showing cattle and judging cattle, being an FFA and everything. So it's kind of neat. We sit there and try to pick first and second place. In the past, Brad had a cousin we would meet up there, and they would sit there and they would talk about the cows, cow families, and because they follow the cow throughout the year and stuff from other shows and trying to pick out who would win. And then at the Supreme Champion, when they come in, we try to pick who the Supreme would be and stuff. And usually I'm not that good. Brad's pretty good about picking them. I'm getting a little bit better, but I kind of judge differently than they do.
Mm-hmm. Now, with you not coming from a farming background, is this something you really enjoy every year? It's something that's really opened your eyes?
I love, my husband just laughs about this. I love to give at first it was our kids something unique from the World Dairy Expo, being it a shirt from the Purple Cow. And now that there's a couple different vendors up there buying something for them, now I get to do it for our 5 grandkids.
Oh, wow.
So he watches the sale or the show, and then I go and I look, make sure each grandkid gets something from us from the World Dairy Expo.
We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Lely Center in Monroe, Wisconsin. With Lely, you're no longer working under the cows, you're working between them. Visit their website at lelyna.com to review all the products and services Lely can provide your dairy. Healthier cows, healthier farmers, better decisions. That's Lely.
Catch up on Brad and Marie's story under the headline An Expo Honeymoon on dairystar.com. In the latest issue of the Dairy Star, we heard quite a few stories, and that love story reminds me, will there be any of those like stories at this year's Expo? For this issue's Our Side of the Fence, we spoke with farmers about their corn silage strategies, when they started or plan to start chopping, and how some of their management strategies may have changed over time. I know one strategy that comes to mind, or progression, is how tall the corn is.
Yeah, obviously, the saying knee high by 4th of July. I don't know if there's one for harvest time, but there probably should be. I don't know if it's going to be as catchy, but Another story, you took us down to the Illinois State Fair. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, Connor Ashlock and his family have a tradition of going to the fair, and he's the third generation of being an assistant dairy superintendent at the state fair. And in fact, they've had family at every state fair for the last 80 years, with skipping a year or two because of polio and because of the pandemic as well, COVID-19. So just very neat to see the legacy and the story behind fairs and state fairs and the people that run them.
Definitely. I can't imagine doing something for 80 years. When you can say that the only thing that stopped you from doing something for 80 years is a global pandemic and polio, it's pretty impressive stuff you got going on. Another article that we had is I had a chance to go up to one of the professional dairy producers of Wisconsin's Twilight meetings at Lindstrom Valley Farms near Durand. While there, we got a tour of the farm. We got to see their sand reclamation facility, and along with the freestyle barn, which they put up in phases over the last several years. After the tour, the industry experts were present to field questions from the community members and neighbors alike. And I think one of my favorite parts of being up there for it, other than getting to hear all the expert opinions and having the great conversations that they had with people and providers that were there, was there was also an ice Sunday bar. So, getting a little ice cream over there was never hurts anything, that's for sure.
Especially if it's a dairy product.
Yes, definitely. Find more stories in next week's Dairy Star newspaper. Then come back to Dairy Delivery on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts to hear more of those stories. Rate and subscribe, and if you or someone you know is interested in being featured on the Dairy Star or on Dairy Delivery, reach out to us at dairydelivery@dairystar.com so we can continue sharing all dairy all the time.